Welcome to the Orange Tree Podcast. We have a very special guest, Debbie Gonzales.
Let's go. Yeah,
What's
just
up?
so you know, it's January 22nd.
Yes.
Yeah.
Say that in your calendars.
Exactly.
Put it until future reference, you know that's her birthday.
That's
Yep.
the Queen's Day.
Exactly.
So, how are you? How's it feel?
I'm great. I think, when you guys hit me up to do the podcast or the interview, I was like, oh, this is my birthday weekend. And then I was like, wait a minute. I think last birthday to now, I feel like it was so much growth and such a beautiful time to reflect. And I was like, let's do it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
I mean, it's not like there's much going on in the world right now. So,
Yeah, that's good. So like you would say from the last birthday to now, like it, how's it been for you?
I mean, like everybody, it's been a roller coaster, of emotions, of life, of ups and downs. But I think it's not what I had planned it to be.
Yeah.
Because there's other things that we all kind of dreamed and had planned that didn't go as we thought.
Yeah.
But I think on a personal level, I was like, damn, like I felt like I became stronger. I dealt with situations with the tools that I had been practicing and developing, and kind of just like really also manifesting. I came back to manifesting. I think for a while I was like working and just caught up in the hype of work and events and being here and being there, and then it's like, wait a minute, to be able to sit in your thoughts and to sit in yourself and be like, what am I doing? Am I happy? Am I is this fulfilling? Is this and ask yourself all these questions.
For sure. Real quick too, as far as anybody who may not know you, tell us a little about yourself. I'm so sorry. Tell us
where you
about
from.
yourself.
Okay. So I work with Kids of Immigrants, creative director there, and stylist by trade. Been doing that for 10 years and low-key on my retirement. Low-key retiring. I was born in the South Bay in Torrance, and then I grew up in the high desert. And then I made my way back to school.
Nice.
And now I'm here.
Cool.
That's what I always find interesting, is that like you grew up in a place that isn't like a metropolitan city, but your taste in like the things you're into are like aesthetically like of a Vogue caliber. So I'm always interested in knowing like, how did you get from a place that's like not known for fashion or like style or anything like that,
Or
but
anything.
then like but then now you're like
No, we do have a beautiful desert, and it's an amazing place. I think I appreciate it more as an adult, but I guess I always had that. I mean, we were raised there, but we were always back and forth from whether it was, our family in Coachella or LA or, so it was constant back and forth. I feel like my dad, even though he took us out of the city to have a better life and to not be, to not get caught up in gangs and stuff, it kind of just made it, like he kept us cultured.
Yeah.
And I feel like no matter what, we were like, one day we'd be, venturing out into the desert and just like being in the middle of nowhere, or the next weekend we'd be with family or, exploring downtown and like every edge of Southern California.
Yeah.
So I think that definitely helped. And just wanting it, like, knowing that there's more out there in the world, I was like, and having access to not much, but like the resources that we did at the time, because we didn't have, or actually internet was not that lit. But
when did you move out here towards LA?
I graduated 2008, so probably like, it was like that summer.
Oh, cool. Right away.
Fresh out of high school.
And did you go to college and stuff? And
I went to FITM, and I wasn't allowed to move out. Because I was just not a thing.
Damn, so you was doing the drive?
Yeah, hell yeah. It was like 4 or 5
shit.
hours.
Push.
Especially when
Insane.
traffic was, a thing in the morning.
Yeah.
And I had this annoying ass 7 a.m. class, and I was like, Lord,
Jesus.
But luckily, I had a carpool buddy, and that's my my good friend Holly.
Nice.
From the desert as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we just made the best out of the trip. We got caught up in like snowstorms on the way sometimes, and car accidents, and like
Damn.
I mean it's 3 hours, or it could have roughly be up to 3 hours that we'd just be like, what are we doing? Like listening to music, like just talking, dreaming, and kind of just figuring it out.
Yeah.
When did you realize that you have this like passion for like the fashion world, or just styling in general?
I think I would say more of a creative passion, which led into fashion. I think one of the moments I remember so distinctly is like my mom told me to paint like a little frame, and it was like a flower in a pot. She was like, paint or draw it. And I think that moment I was like, oh shit, I could really, it's not perfect, but I could do this, And from there, my parents just kind of let me do whatever. Like we had 2 living rooms, and they would just let me paint it and do the interiors. It was crazy, but I was allowed to just explore, and and I think that's what really started it and led to here. Now just being able to do what I love.
No, it's dope. I feel the same. Like that's really cool, because that's how my parents were. I feel like they didn't know art, so to speak, like at the time. Like, how do I build an artist or make? It's just like, no, my kid wants to be creative and allowing them space to create in, and it's not the most, but at the time it's enough. And also I think like one thing I find with you that's super interesting when you're telling your story is like I continually find this like connection of people that like aren't born with the connection to the industry or the fashion and stuff. And I think that like it builds like a want, like it builds a passion, like it allows you as a kid to dream. And I think the more you can dream because you don't have it on a daily basis, it kind of pushes that passion of you commuting 5 hours to get to school. Like most people be like, no, why the fuck would I go? But it's like you really want to understand it because where you're from doesn't really have it. But then also, do you think that you growing up in these places outside of the city now where you see fashion, do you think that it's actually a good thing for you that you had those experiences of the desert, of doing these different things, coming into the city, leaving? Because I feel like that's where fashion is now. I feel like people are trying to get out of the city and trying to experience these new things and getting inspired by nature and how that translates into colors and tones and shapes. I find that really interesting with you. I think that's really dope.
Yeah, I mean, I think to touch on what you said, it's made my foundation. I think you kind of venture out and you seek what you see in TV, and like, you kind of want that celebrity life, or you want these big things, but once you're there, you're kind of just like, everything I had was what I started with or where I came from. So just remembering that along my journey was just like, sometimes I'm like, just go back to who I am, my roots, and it goes along with culture, where I was from, all these things that just like really solidified like who I am. So I don't know, my sisters and I think a lot about that. Like, would we be different if we actually grew up in LA? I think our parents definitely did a good job in like raising us and kind of like creating that path so that we're who we are now as well. But yeah, definitely, I wonder. Yeah. I'm like, I probably wouldn't be here,
Did your parents have a fear of you wanting to go into the creative industry at all?
Yeah, I feel like with any immigrant parent, it's like, where's the, like, is this something that's gonna, like, how are you gonna
like bring security
exactly,
or something?
It's security. That's what I was
because
looking for.
I feel it too, because I mean,
because basically it's like, are you gonna pay your bills? Can you pay your bills?
Yeah. That's the whole thing. As a parent, you want to make sure your children are good.
And can you take care of us?
And can you take care of us in the future?
Let's not forget that.
Exactly. Yeah. My mom was once an immigrant, and she, is a teacher, and so my whole family's teachers, so they always have that like in some sense of a security when it comes to like just jobs and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've felt that type of like pressure. Yeah, thank you. That pressure. So yeah, how did you get that a little bit then? Were you saying?
Definitely. I think one being the first girl to, even though I didn't go to like a 4-year college, you know, I was the first one to get out the house.
Gotcha.
Well, my brother went, but you know, to want to live outside of the house, and you know, the first one to like kind of take that step. And it was definitely hard, you know. It was hard to convince my dad that I wasn't gonna just like take to the streets and you know, or just that I would be stable and safe, and you know, all those concerns, which are valid. But I was just like, I kind of am the type of person, if someone tells me no, I'm just like, I'm gonna prove it to you, you know. So
Exactly.
it was kind of like one of those moments. I was like, well, you think I'm gonna be X, Y, and Z, and I'm gonna show you, and I'm gonna prove to you that I'm not. So.
And the whole thing with that is just like trying to get the message across that it doesn't take overnight, you know, like it takes time. You know. So, and I feel like that's just always the moment with it when it comes to it, because you're trying to tell them like, yo, just believe in me, I got this. And so when it does kind of like, when things start to catch momentum for yourself, it's a beautiful thing to see like them see
get
where
it.
To get it to get it.
That
That's
moment
cool.
is definitely probably like the most rewarding moment ever, like of time, is like getting your parents like to, okay, they still might not know fully what you do, but at least they like are open to you know, just accepting it.
But you show a lot of progress to make it easier for them to accept it too. That's well, I don't know if, like for sure, but from outside looking in, it's like, I just think you do so much that's like amazing. And then all like when your parents get to see all these people that appreciate you so much, it's like, I think speaking to myself too, is like with my parents, it's like if it wasn't financially a thing, like why are you doing it? You know, outside of like the spirit, that's good, but like security like that. And I think it's really interesting to see how many people you've touched and affected with just the things you do, and like how do your parents like relate to that, like your dad, and like even the sauce, the hot sauce. It's like I'm so inspired just seeing you do stuff with your family that I wish the other people would be able to do, or I wish I could do with my family. You know,
how did that happen too, by the way? My bad to interrupt.
No,
but
no,
as far
perfect,
as like
perfect.
I like that subject, as far as how you have your pops like
The
doing
El Chilito.
yeah.
Shout out to El Chilito.
Talk about it.
So I think it was around like pre-COVID. My dad no longer could work Uber, and you know, he was kind of like out of a job, and so we were like, you know what, he's always wanted to do this hot sauce, and I really believed in it, and I personally, when we have it, we put it on everything, so it's definitely like our family's thing. So I was like, you know what do we got? Like, I have nothing else to lose. Like, I also was kind of just at a standstill with work and, you know, just life. Everything was kind of just slowing down. And I was like, if now's not a good time, then when, you know? And I kept on like, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm gonna figure it out, you know? So it was kind of like that simple, like, drive to just do it. And then obviously Sticks, shout out to Sticks, he made the design, and I was like, I want this to resemble I want the El Chilito to be my dad, because he always wears his little white fedora. And he's such a character, you know? So I was like, this like, just seeing like the vision of what it could be, and just wanting to bring that to life through this hot sauce. I was like, you know, and also I feel like what I learned during quarantine was just like family, you know, those moments like really bring you together, you know? And I was like, well, it's not gonna be my family.
That's cool. I mean, like, I feel like even with COVID, not only did it like teach us about family and just being present and all that, but also like taking chances for whatever idea that is, even if it's something completely new to you. And let's say you're not even selling anything, even if it's just like you painting, as you were saying when you first started. So yeah, I think that's cool. I think that's really awesome that you guys just started that, and it's a actual thing, you know.
Yeah.
You could literally buy it.
Mhm.
Buy it.
Yeah,
You can literally
it went
buy
from
it.
concept, you know, it went from a little Chilito to a dream, you know, and I think that
Yeah.
that was super important, because it's also like, again, going back to like what we have, right? And it's like I've been in meetings and I've been in these spaces where it's like they want what we have.
Mhm.
They want,
Mhm.
you know, what our uniqueness. They want like our culture or whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it was super important to do that for my family. And you know, it's a learning. It's definitely every day is a new day, and we're
Yeah.
learning, and we're kind of just taking it day by day.
Yeah.
So it's great.
Awesome.
What you been working on lately, as far as like your whole styling side? Like, how's that going? I'm sure you guys. I mean,
Why
like,
is
I know
retirement? Why is retirement a word for
retirement. Oh, back to that. So, you know, at the beginning of last year, I kind of was like, not over styling, but I think I got to a point where I was like doing it so like mindless, or like just kind of, I felt like a robot. That I felt like I was losing like that passion, you know, the art of like making things look, people feel good and look good and all that. So I think I got a little burnt out, and then obviously COVID happened, and I was like, is this a sign? Like, is this a sign that I need to like take a step back? And don't get me wrong, I still enjoy it, you know, depending on the project or the person. Like it's still really fun.
How's the Kids of Immigrants, like, since you jumped in, when did you jump in, and as far as like the operation and the whole team?
Like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Damn.
Maybe 4 years.
Maybe
no, wait.
longer
Damn,
now.
Maybe, yeah.
Time
Maybe
is
longer
flying.
I feel like I've always, you know, been in the
No, always.
in the
Yeah,
cut.
yeah.
But officially probably 3-4 years.
Almost
now.
4 years ago now.
Damn,
Yeah.
time's
'Cause it's
flying. I thought it was a
2021.
little bit like just like 2 or 1 or I don't know. I just
No,
feel like
sometimes I feel like
time's flying.
sometimes I feel like it's been forever.
That's
but,
cool.
I mean,
yeah, it's been about 4 years now.
almost
yeah.
4 years.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And that's where my passion is. It's
That's
like,
cool.
you know, kind of taking everything that I've learned and applying it to this brand and to the community, and like just really yeah, that's why I'm like, wow, like to be able to be here with the career or what I'm doing now for work, and kind of look back and I was like, oh, I took a little bit of this from that, a little bit of there, you know, just like little pieces that I'm like, you know, I learned from all that, and now I'm like doing what I actually want.
Yeah. And oh, my bad.
No,
I was just
good.
going to say it's nice to just travel too. And along with the internet, I mean, like it's always great to just like do deep dives in the internet and just find inspo, but it's beautiful to travel or just have like a background that you could always like pull from or channel to, because I feel like you're really connected to like your roots, and also on top of that, I feel like you've traveled around the world quite a lot as well. So it's cool to see like you implement all that and put that into your own taste. I think it's really cool to.
For sure. And there's definitely been a lot of like blessings and lessons learned that like, you know, have got me to this point. And traveling, like I think if it wasn't for styling, you know, and working with artists, like I wouldn't have traveled the world, you know, and I think that's definitely opened my eyes to so much and been such an inspiration as well.
Yeah, I think that's what I also like. I'm inspired by, and I want like our younger viewers or just people that we're connected to like seeing you is like that, like diversifying your experience is kind of what I wish people had told me as a young child. And by that, I don't just mean diversifying your experiences by like traveling the world. It's like you're coming from a very struggling place, but then working into a place of where you see people with luxury, and you're able to, you know, have a much more authentic outlook on it. And that I think is super tasteful. I honestly think that that's where fashion's at. That's where it's going to go. That's where it's been, is just like diverse experiences, because when you can actually embody those experiences, it just comes out in you naturally. Like from the colors and the patterns, I know I get weird about it, but it's just like, I think you're such a beautiful person because of like all the shit that you've been through. You know, it's cool that like people know the amazing things that you do, but even when we just talk personally and seeing the struggle and the background and the things that, you know, opportunities that weren't allotted to you, but you still got through, like that shit is super powerful to me, especially as a woman. You know, it's cool to hear like women's perspectives, but I love hearing it from actually a woman's mouth, because like my mom, you know, is a big inspiration to me, and there's a lot of characteristics that I see in my mom, and why I look at her and hold her in such a high standard that I see in you. And I just because I see my sisters growing up, and like I told you, it's like I want them to be able to see women like you, because then they can understand that like you don't need a particular route of growing up to be whatever you want. Just diversify your experiences, meet as many people, learn as many things, go as many places. That's just dope as fuck to me.
Honored
like,
to be right next to your mother. I mean, your mom is a queen, and she's amazing. Yeah, I think, I don't even know. I often think like, what made me this way? Who made me this way? Or, you know, how did I become, you know, how am I able to navigate through certain situations and like having nothing? I think it's a lot to do with how my parents raised me, you know. I remember my dad's always like, you should never be embarrassed. Like, being embarrassed is like a disease. Because
Facts.
if you're yourself, you have nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
And so it's like, damn, he's right. You know?
Absolutely.
Or just like, I often look back and I'm like, wow, we didn't really have any, like, we had dirt bikes, or we had like toys and like things, but we weren't ever like we were poor, you know? Like we still would get food at the pantries, and like we'd get Payless shoes and like one shoe a year type of thing. So I'm like, damn. But something about the way we were raised was just like, I felt like I had everything, you know?
Yeah.
So aside from the materialistic stuff, but yeah,
Hold
it is.
Dirt bikes? You were on dirt bikes?
Yes.
That's awesome. Do you still
life.
jump on dirt bikes to this day?
You know what? I had this conversation the other day, and I was like, damn, we got rid of our dirt bikes like when we moved out.
Gotcha.
But we had one, and my dad's like, I'm gonna fix this, so when you guys come back, you guys have it. And I was like, wow, I used to be jumping off not cliffs, but like
good jumps.
just like, you know, just not having zero fears.
Yeah.
And now I'm a little more scared, but it's definitely still
dirt bikes are so
fun, and
there's
such
so
a
much
huge part of like how we grew up, you know, because it's like there's nothing to do but like
go ride some bikes.
Go ride bikes and like play and like get lost in the desert. So
that's cool.
It was actually really nice.
That's cool. Yeah, I love dirt bikes. How about horses? Did you guys? I mean, like, is there horses out? Like, do you guys see them pretty often out there? And in like Victorville?
In Lucerne?
Yeah.
We grew up in Lucerne, but
okay.
I guess we actually did have a small farm growing up, and we had one horse, and it bit my mom's bun one time.
Oh, snap.
Because she was like feeding it, bends down and like snatches her bun, and so we got rid of it.
Never again.
Never again. It was goodbye after that.
Damn.
But, no, yeah, we definitely had like a little farm, you know.
That's so cool.
It was a little cute thing.
That's awesome.
The little rancho that my dad always dreamed about. But yeah, I mean, people have their animals and their farms, their horses and stuff like that. So
that's cool. Yeah. I never knew
I
about.
have to take you guys one day.
I
mean, we got a road trip at one day.
Yeah, I'm down.
Just be caught up with that.
Yeah. Get some dirt bikes and stuff.
I'm all about that life. Let's go.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, I've been spending more time in the desert and back home, and I'm like, wow, like my dad was right. Like I'm always like, damn, they were right. I'm gonna want to come back to like leave the city and just be in a space where you just like no one's bothering you. You have nothing to worry about, and like
nature is luxury. You know, being able to build your own thing within that, you know, little ranch, like that is luxury. You know, and I love it. I think the world, I hope the world is shifting that way. And like, I love the city.
I think so.
I love the city, but it's like, I always wondered how people had space to think, you know, and that's what I think I love about being here is it is a major city, but I always find little pockets to be able to think, even if it's just an hour out drive. Like, I'm just like, wow, this is crazy. Like,
yeah, that would be crazy if like real estate goes the opposite way, like where you know how it's normally expensive in the cities. That'll be wild if it flips.
Imagine
It's like, oh, you know, if you're going outside of the city, it's gonna be more. That'll be wild.
Then there is.
I mean,
then there is. It's going there. If not
I
already
feel
there,
like
I'm not
it is
big,
going that way.
You know, which would be
sure.
dope. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah. I mean, anytime going to nature is always just a plus. You know, hitting Joshua Tree or just like even Big Bear. Like you guys did a Big Bear trip, right?
Yeah.
That was that looked cool.
That was pretty dope.
Yeah. It's definitely a blessing to be like in LA though, because of just all the options around.
Yeah, I mean, 1 to 2 hours, 30 minutes, you're in a completely different neighborhood, completely different everything. So.
Exactly.
Yeah. What part of Mexico are you guys from? Like your whole family?
So my mom is from Mexico City, and then my dad was born in Mexico City, but he grew up in Sahuayo, Michoacan. So
nice.
That's
and
where
you visited both places before? Yeah, that's cool.
They're both very different. It's like small town versus the city.
Yeah,
very different. But yeah, I love both. I think they're both equally like just so special. The small town is just like, it's beautiful. I mean, everybody knows everybody. It's like the whole block is like my family's block, It's so like it's very like family and tight knit.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, cool. I like that culture.
Yeah,
I think
I love
like
that culture too.
Thinking about city, that's interesting to have that diversity of like city and small town, and like I think like small town culture kind of got a bad look on, like being from the valley, just like a term, but it's just like to where now it's like I think that's where it needs to go. More family, more who your neighbors are. It just helps you move easier. To where before it was more like gimme, like it's all mine. Like we're all working to own these things and never share it with anyone else. To where it's like now sharing is like whether it's Airbnb or Get Around or these new companies. I'm like,
that's an interesting perspective of like how we are more open to share and like experiences.
Because think about growing up, it was like, yo, I'm getting this because I'm getting it, and it's just like
definitely
but then like when you get it and you're by yourself, it's like I think you really your thoughts change, and like even now I look at luxury as just like when I see you, it's like, oh yeah, you spend a lot of time with your family doing like things where it's going to like the desert or going to I don't know wherever you guys are going, and it's like that I think for me is luxury because like if I had the luxury of being able to have the finances where I needed them to be able to have the business, I would spend way more time with my siblings. Like every time I see you with your siblings, I'm like, damn, I like call my sister. I like say what's up to my brother. Cause it's like,
crazy.
That's a luxury, and speaking of siblings, how many siblings do you have and where do you fall in the
Oh man, there's 4 of us total.
Okay.
You guys know Ruben, my brother,
yes.
the oldest. He's a riot.
Awesome.
Awesome. Insane. Like, but I love him because he is him. Like
authentic.
365 days out the year. Like
amazing.
Him.
Yeah.
At that, like at a 10, all the time, at 11.
Absolutely.
And then Ruby. And then I'm me, my bad. It's me, then Ruby, and then Evelyn, who's mellow yellow.
Where?
Yeah.
Dang.
And then there's 4 of us, and we're all three years apart.
How's your guys' family trips? That must be like the most fun thing right there.
It's interesting because it's always like jokes and roasting, like that comes like, that's a given. Then there's like these dance battle moments or like just I don't know, it's so much fun. It's fun.
Good food.
Sometimes I need when I get back I'm like, that was a lot. I had my dose of the siblings or the family, but it's really nice. I mean, I think especially now, like where we're in a place where we're each other's friends and not like my brother's like trying to be my dad, or like I'm trying to be big mom or big sis to, like, you know, we're kind of just like cool.
Nice.
And we're in a place where we're like each on our own spiritual kind of just like open, just free spirited moment in life. Which is good because we can have conversations about real shit, you know. Like it's no longer just like, you know, family stuff
or the growing up process. That growing
or
up
where
process,
like you don't really tell, you know, them certain things, you know. I feel like we've built a beautiful relationship.
That's good.
They're like my best friends, so
cool,
you know.
I was just imagining like how you guys' family trips go and how much fun and because it's always a good energy,
Willa.
you
I
know,
think
like
Willa, you've been, right?
It's gang. It's fun.
Yeah.
Your brother's like my spirit animal. So
he really is. He really is.
He's gonna be so hyped that you said that.
He's fire. He's dope. No, he's dope. Right? When we went to the beach and like you joined. We all went. It was just like it was kind of a. I'd never been to that beach one, and then just like how your brother like is very accepting of like high energy. You know, I just usually go to the beach with people here, and it's like, oh, everyone sits on the beach, no one wants to go in the water. Your brother like pulled up, he had snorkels, like, you know, it's like
adventure,
and was like, and I love swimming, so it's like as many times as I was going in, usually I'm like the last one in there, but he's going in every time, even when he didn't want to go in. Like and then after that we're like leaving, he's like breakdancing on the lawn in front of some like old ass ladies. I'm just like, yo, he is lit. Like
and then there was this other time too, bro, when we were watching MMA fights at D-Cam's house, and like there was a bunch this was before pre-COVID, and like just a bunch of people at the house, like some of the like Mozzie came through and stuff, and they were just all in it, and your brother was like
cracking jokes.
He was cracking jokes, man, and it was the best. It was like, oh man,
so funny. That man is crazy.
Yeah. I guess before we forget, is there anything that like you want to say? Because I know you've lived an amazing life up to this point, and you'll live even more amazing further. But just reflecting, like, are there any things that like you've learned on your journey up to this point that you would give your younger self, just like a message, or if there is like a messages, anything that you would tell a younger you or people like you that would help them get through times where they were or where they are now? Like,
I think so I've had this like my little niece gave me this nickname, and she didn't give it to me, she just couldn't say my name, Debbie, so she called me Tia Webby. So Webby became like my nickname, and you know, throughout this year I've kind of used it as the name to my younger self, like because I find myself like either I'm crying or I feel really, you know, vulnerable or weak or sad, and I'm like, take a moment to feel that, and then talk to me, Debbie, you know, talk to Webby, and just be like, you got it, like, get it together, and allow yourself to feel that way, but you know, there's a light, we got to get up and we got to move forward. So I think that touching back to yourself and finding that like fire, that inner child, I think has been really important. And something that I'm like, you know, I used to love playing and doing certain things, why don't I do it anymore, you know? So just like always checking in on my younger self has been super important. So I guess if that answers it, I'd just encourage people to check in on their younger self.
In what words would you say that you would need as an adjective?
I would say, like, I don't know if I have a word, but like one thing that I remind myself is like, I came from nothing, so you know, I have nothing to lose. And I think that's, you know,
fire. Remembering
and having that fear, you know, of like when COVID hit, of like not uncertainty, and like, you know, having that fear of losing everything, and you know, checking in with myself and like, wait, I come from nothing. Like, I literally was like, everything I have is because I worked my ass for it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like remembering that it's like, well, if we got to start all over, then we got to start all over. And just remembering that there's like cycles of life, right?
Yeah.
And yeah.
I feel like if I were to, from the outside looking in, I feel like ever since I've met you, I feel like it's always been like you're true to yourself. Like I feel like no matter what, like whoever you're speaking to or from what I've seen is like you always give them Debbie, you know, like
appreciate that.
Yeah, so and even your passion, because like your passion I feel like is definitely so true as far as what you get into.
Right.
You know.
No, I think you're right, and I'm very like, when I'm passionate about something, you will know.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
And I feel like learning that I don't always have to do it because of, you know, that I can say no and that I can, you know, do other things, or is also very important. Thing that I've learned.
Also, a question I wanted to ask you is like, because of hearing your background and like, you know, hearing your story, something that I wish I would know as a kid is like, growing up where I was from, it's kind of similar in certain ways of how you grew up, and I think I always had like a very distorted sense of success, like what success meant. So I think like as a child and, you know, going through those experiences, like where did you see the idea of success when you were younger and, you know, growing up, and then like where do you see the idea of, you know, reflecting back on that now, what does success mean to you, that word?
Right. I think growing up, I was like, I want to be the best celebrity stylist, or like I want to travel the world. I want to be at these parties. I want to be, you know, in these spaces where, you know, you always like see on TV or dream of and whatnot. So I definitely felt like having the car, having the house, and, you know, the latest bag and all that used to be like what I aspired or what I thought success was. It was like, oh, look at me, you know.
Me too.
I'm getting money.
Yeah, facts.
And obviously, when I got to that moment, I was like, I'm not. It felt so superficial and hollow. Like once, you know, you're, and not every space, but like certain spaces, I was like, everyone's competing. Everyone's trying to be someone that they're not. You know. And I was like, this just doesn't feel right to me and to what I want. So being able to kind of live that life and learn that lesson, because I think it was important, right?
Yeah.
I think your parents warn you and want you to, you know, give you all the signs to not live certain things. But I think it's important to live that, so that, you know, now I can say I lived it, my experiences. And so I think it was important to now, like, going back to like what I actually fulfills me, and what, you know, which is always going back to what was me, you know. Did I answer that?
No, you did. You did. You just said something that I needed to write down. That's what.
Okay. I think you threw me off.
In my eyes, right? I was like,
wait a minute.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to lose the thought what you just said. Do you have any other questions, Fred?
I mean, shoot, honestly, I have a bunch of questions, but I also know that it is your birthday, and I don't want to hold up too much time. What do you guys? What's your favorite dish? Are you gonna try to get your like favorite dish today?
Oh, my favorite dish.
Because like food is like an important thing every day, for sure. But
it's the food fiend right here.
Yeah, but for sure with like your birthday, you gotta eat good.
What's my birthday?
So what's your birthday like dish looking like?
If I had to pick, I would probably say some dumplings, or some kazunori.
Ooh.
You know, I'm feeling a little like on the seafood side.
Oh, okay. I'll see you.
Asian seafood side.
Let's go.
But I mean, classic is Mediterranean.
Fire.
Never go wrong with.
Yeah, you
I'm
can't.
with you on that.
Bavel. Oh, that's.
I haven't had it.
Notch
I gotta check
that out.
Meal. Honestly,
what was the place? What was it?
Bavel. I think I'm pretty sure it's Bavel, because I've been saying Bavel, and then I called the number. It's like, welcome to Bavel. And I was like, oh.
I gotta tap in.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
We gotta try that one for sure.
Definitely worth it.
Damn. Okay. Well, how can you got any more, Willa?
Yeah, I mean, if you still got time, I'm not really.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, I think because we don't have like a master class or anything like that, but like I think you have enough experience to share things that could help a lot of people. Right now, we've been talking about this like idea of like starting small, because a lot of the things that have happened, I've been looking at from a place of like a full scope, and it becomes overwhelming. But I learned every time I started small, it always grew into something that I couldn't even like imagine. So I think what would be some steps that you could tell, again, the younger you or anybody that would be able to take heed from your words about starting small, and like if they wanted to do something that you're doing, like how could they go about starting small? Like because I think when I wanted to start, I wanted the best paints and I wanted all this other stuff, and through time I understood that I actually didn't need all that stuff. All that stuff was kind of stopping me from returning to a childlike state and and reacting and then growing from that reaction. I know I'm
No, I love that. I think it's so important to start small. One, because you really tap into whether if that creativity, or whether it be you're really like, it's you and that thing, so you got to figure it out, so you tap into that. But starting small is also like gives you a taste of like, if you really want to do it, right? You're not over investing, you're not one thing might lead you to the next. So I think there's so much potential and beauty behind starting small. Fuck, I forgot.
How would you start?
That was it. No, that was it.
How would you start small in the fashion industry?
Oh, okay. Going back to that, I mean, there's with social media and the internet, compared to when I started, where you had to like resumes and like email people and like make calls and you do all that type of stuff. I feel like now you can use your Instagram as your mood board, as your get your friends together and Photoshop and design and style them and photograph them, and like use what you have, like you said, starting small, use what you have and like really make it your own. And through that you're gonna find what you like, what you don't like, and you're gonna start building your taste. So I mean, grab a book and grab your friends and just experiment.
That's
like
beautiful.
Become a kid, and just, you have nothing to lose.
Thanks.
Just go for it.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I think one thing I want to highlight about you that I think is dope, and I see in your tastes and your aesthetic, is like that I want people to understand from a design perspective is like I think a strong word that resonates when I think about you is empathy. That I don't think people usually put that word towards design or fashion or style, like but I think like a superpower that you have is being able to feel or like empathize with someone's situation, and how that can, just from a stylistic perspective, I see how you can go into a thrift and pair that with something from high-end fashion, and that's why I think I relate to your style too, is because I feel the same. But I just really want people to take that word away when thinking about you, and when thinking about what it means to have good taste or design or style, is like empathy, something that's so, it's just in you, and I can see it because it's like my reflection.
That's for sure facts. And then you see the strengths coming from it, because like I feel like as you're saying, how she channels that, I feel like that's like just a strength that you see through that.
And I genuinely appreciate that, because I think sometimes and recently I've been having to navigate between being too empathetic and that kind of being a weakness versus like empathy and having my boundaries and being able to still be empathetic, but it being a strength.
Exactly.
So I appreciate that you say that, because I'm learning how to navigate, like, because I don't know why, I just have a big ass heart. Like, and I feel everything, and I want to help everybody, but remembering that I'm have to help myself first, and before I can help everybody, and knowing that I can't help everybody. So
Facts.
Yeah, I think
people need to know that.
That is a very deep word that I'm gonna write in my notes too.
Yeah, just from working with you, it's
remembering
just, it's there in you. Like that. People need to know that and not get caught up on like the idea of luxury and what that word shiny. Usually when I used to think of luxury, it's shiny or like you know,
Lux, expensive,
or words I can't pronounce or some shit like that.
Yeah.
But like now I think of luxury and it's like time and love and relationships and empathy. You know, those things are very like
peace.
Yeah,
peace. It's the biggest fucking most fashionable luxurious mindset you can have, especially in these times where it's hard. It's very rare to come across someone who's still in a very high level of appreciation of life and people's experiences around them. So I think that's the most luxurious thing I can.
Thank you.
You know,
I love that.
Absolutely. Damn.
I keep fucking with the mic.
Yeah. Anything else about you want to reflect on? I know it is your birthday, so it's like, there anything that you woke up thinking about, like, damn, like.
What's been on your mind? What's, you know, like anything that.
I think I've just been, I'm so happy to be so open now. Even more open, if that's possible. But I feel like I'm in a space of like, I guess one of the things that really impacted this way of thinking was when we went to Nipsey's funeral or viewing. Lauren London said that you cannot experience people, or you can't own people, you can only experience them. And that was like that struck a chord, and I think more than anything it applies to people, but it applies to experiences, career, life, and you can apply it to anything, right? Because it's like about embracing the moment and the experience and taking it for what it was versus what you want it to be, or what you kind of like forcing it to be, or being able to come to a space where I'm like, okay, like I did everything. I have nothing to like, I gave you 110, you know, like
facts.
The rest is like not up to me. So being able to have that peace of mind and knowing that, you know, that I did that I gave it all, my all is like such a rewarding place, or it's just such a fulfilling place to be. Because I feel like before I'd be so fixated on like holding these emotions, resentment or feelings or what ifs and what nots. And I was like, no, if I gave it my everything, then I feel like it's like everything else is like up to whoever.
You know? No, I feel that. I mean, if you give everything, your all, your whole heart, your whole into a project, or even if it's a moment with a person, then I just feel like you send it off with a good like aura, you know, like it's kind of like placing a candle on a little small leaf that can hold it, and just sending it off on a lake bed, you know. And excuse the chopper, I'm sure you guys can hear that a little bit, but yeah, as far as that's I feel that I think that's the ultimate thing, you know, like, is if you could really look yourself in the mirror and be like, damn, all right, we're good, like I gave it my all. After that is you know, like you're solid. I feel like that's something that it's a healthy thing to keep in mind, and also live by as well, like not only with just like work, but even with yourself. You know, like we deserve to give ourselves everything we have as well. You know, so I mean, that's really cool that you mentioned that.
I think that's something that I think we always talk about, you know.
Well, all right, well let's where can people find you? Like, can you plug yourself real quick?
I was like,
no, like where can people find you on the internet? And like,
I mean, I'm so off the internet, but you can find me on Instagram. I am Debbie Gonzales oh no, that's it. I am Debbie Gonzales, or you know, Debbie at kidsofimmigrants.us.
Perfect.
If you ever have a question or just want to hit me up, I'm available.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
thank you guys. This is really dope.
No.
yeah,
I see the
Thank
vision.
you.
Yeah.
This
It's
is crazy
coming,
for
it's
you to
coming.
spend your time with us on your birthday. So
What?
yeah.
that's super
No, this
appreciated.
is like this is where I wanted to spend it,
Cool.
Fire.
reflecting
Yeah.
all that. I'm older now,
Reflecting
Yeah,
in the
I don't need a
backyard.
party anymore. I mean, I still do, but
Exactly. Oh.
but this is like a nice, like, okay, adulting. We're
Y-
31 now.
Yeah.
Let's go.
come
Yeah,
on,
facts.
come on.
Absolutely.
So I'm
Yeah.
excited. Thank
Wow.
you guys for having me.
Absolutely.
I'm
Awesome.
excited to see this
Well, Yeah.
into fruition.
We'll have to have you come through another time.
For sure.
Yeah, on this show, it's a recurring thing. There's not like a one-time thing because I think, like, especially with today's one way you feel, it being your birthday, but 2 months or a month or a week from now, it might be something different. And either way, your perspective is like appreciated. So we would
Thank you.
love to have you back.
Of
Yeah.
course, where I'm at, where I stay. So
Who knows? Maybe even get you on another birthday or
hey, next
yeah.
year,
No.
do a birthday.
It'll be
thing.
far before that. We
No,
gotta get you tapped in.
Imagine once a year interview. That would be fire though.
That'd
No,
be
it would be
cool.
hard.
Imagine
Just a
the
cool
growth and the
year
you know,
recap for
year
an
recap.
individual.
might be a thing.
It's gonna go on that long.
Let's
so
get it.
That's good.
Yay! Thank
All
you
right.
guys.
Yeah.
Awesome.